Interrogative sentences part 2. In the last module, we looked at interrogative sentences, how you ask questions in Hebrew, and we noted two ways to do it. One is simply to state the statement without any markers, and you know from context that it's a question. That's I guess a minor way. One major way is to use words that start questions, interrogative pronouns and adverbs, and I gave you 6 or 7 of them. In this module, I want to look at the third way, and that is to use something called the interrogative hey. Interrogative hey. Interrogative, incidentally, just means questioning. So the interrogative hey is a bit like the question mark for Hebrew. And what it looks like is you have the hey, and you have a chataf patach, and it attaches directly to the first word of the sentence. That is the question. So if you have a statement, you want to turn it into a question, you attach this directly to the word. Now this should look a little familiar. It looks a bit like the article, right? The article also is hey, and the article also attaches directly to a word. So those are the points of similarity. The points of difference are that the article has a patach, while the interrogative hey has the chataf patach. Now we'll see in a moment that the interrogative hey can sometimes change, this vowel here, and it can start to look like the article. But if this doesn't change, if this stays as the chataf patach, then you know you have the interrogative hey, because the article, although it too can change its vowel, it will not change it to this. Okay? You can go back to the module, you can take a look, but it won't be this. So if you see this, you know, if you see the chataf patach, then you know you have an interrogative hey. So the vowel is one difference. The other difference is that the article doubles the next letter. The interrogative hey does not. So this has 3 parts: the letter, the vowel, the doubling, and this just has 2 parts: the letter and the vowel. Okay, let's look at an example. Here we have Hayesh lachem ach. Now, this is our interrogative hey, so it marks it as a question. Yesh is the particle of existence, I guess you could call it. If you go back to chapter 13, we covered yesh and ein. One means there is, and the other means there is not. And we also noted that yesh can be used for possession, meaning literally there is to him something. There is to him a house, he has a house. So that's what's going on here. Yesh lachem, there is to you, ach, brother, a brother, no article. Okay, indefinite. So if we didn't have this hey on there, it would be you have a brother. But with the hey, it's a question. Do you have a brother? And this is you plural because of the ending here. And this is what the brothers, when they go back from Egypt to their father Jacob, back in Genesis, and they relate to Jacob what Joseph had asked them, they tell their father, he said to us, do you have a brother? And this is how they form it here, with this interrogative hey. That's, again, this example comes from Seo, page 109, and this is found in Genesis 49, verse 7. Sorry, Genesis 43, verse 7. Hayesh lachem ach. Do you have a brother? Here's another example from Genesis. Hashomer achi anochi. So again, we have our interrogative hey at the beginning. Shamar is to keep or to guard, and this is the participial form. Achi, ach is brother. E is the 1cs suffix, my brother. And anochi means I. This is the long form of the independent personal pronoun. I, remember? We have ani, it's the short form. Anochi is the long form. Okay, so without this interrogative hey, it is keeper of my brother am I. Or I am my brother's keeper. With this, it is a question. Am I my brother's keeper? And this, of course, is Cain's statement or question to God in Genesis 4, verse 9. Am I my brother's keeper? And There, the interrogative hey is used to mark that question. Okay, now I said briefly before that this vowel can sometimes change, which makes the interrogative hey start to look like the article, and there can be some confusion there. Here's an example. Ha'ata, fo. Ata is you, masculine, singular, and fo is here, and this is a question, are you here? And you see here that this has changed from the chataf patach to a patach. It's because of the guttural. Even though the interrogative hey does not include a dagesh as part of its morphology like the article does, it still changes its vowel in the presence of a guttural. And I'm not sure why, but it does. So sometimes it'll start to look like an article. And I think really it's going to be context that's going to distinguish this for you. It's not too hard, really. You just try both and see which makes more sense. Let's see here. Let's look at another example. Hazechartem et haTorah. Zachar is to remember. And so let's forget the hey there for a moment. This is you, and this is Torah. With the hey, did you remember, this is perfect, the Torah? So it's a question. Now here you can tell that this isn't the article, because if it was the article, you'd have doubling here. There's no reason why you can't double this. But the interrogative hey doesn't double. So you know that this can't be the article. And so sometimes the interrogative hey will have a different vowel, and you just have to recognize that. I'm not giving you here rules as to exactly why. I don't even know what they are. So run with context for those things. I'm sure there are some rules somewhere. He'amar Elohim. Did God say? God speaking, question. Did God say? And here you can see and this really does look like the article, because the article goes to when you have a guttural with a comments under it. But again, context will tell you. So here's another example of the interrogative hey that starts a question. So in summary, we have the third way to ask questions in Hebrew, aside from just unmarked questions and words, pronouns, and adverbs that start a question, which we saw last module. The third way is this thing called the interrogative hey, which really is like our Hebrew question mark. It looks like this, hey with a chataf patach. It has two parts, as opposed to the article, which has three parts, and it attaches directly to the first word of the sentence that you want to turn into a question.